river restoration work that we're underway here today with is just another project here at Snaizeholme, which is vital to creating that mosaic of habitats that we're working on. The idea here is to try and restore natural processes back to the watercourses.
So what we're trying to do here is reintroduce the sort of physical habitat diversity that would have occurred hundreds if not thousands of years ago when there were more trees naturally occurring in the valley. We would have had trees falling into the river, and that aspect of the physical structure within the water makes the water work harder, creates erosion, creates deposition, makes a more diverse habitat mosaic, which is important not only for the trout that I'm particularly interested in, but also for the invertebrates that feed those trout and for anything that might feed upon the trout themselves. It's important in terms of us being able to slow the flow up here. That obviously has knock-on effects further down the valley, so if we can dissipate the energy up here, spread the water out onto the sort of valley floor a little bit earlier in the system, then obviously that means there's less power, less force of water going down the valley, which may cause issues for settlements or bridges or agriculture further down the system.
So even up here towards the head of the valley, this channel has been straightened, and at the same time as it's been dug out and straightened, a lot of this walling stone has been the bed of the river. So what we're actually doing is unstraightening it and putting that stone back into the channel from where it's been stolen in the past, if you like. Because it's been dug artificially and straightened, it's incised down into the bed, and therefore disconnected from the rest of the floodplain. So by putting this walling stone back in, obviously under higher flows, water can get out across the floodplain much more easily. And even here, this was actually walled all the way down the side to stop erosion going in that direction. We're not worried about erosion up here, it's a natural process, so we're trying to reinstate that by taking the wall away.
Prior to this work, Johnny Gray from the Wild Trout Trust, he was out here undertaking electrofishing just to under a survey to see what we have in these watercourses already. Just then that sort of shapes how we go about the work, and also will give us a bit of a baseline to see what the response of our interventions are. Here we found about 4 to 5 species of fish. We had brown trout, wild brown trout, and bullheads, to name just a few. We've also got white crayfish in the watercourse, which we knew about as well already.
So we're using electrofishing equipment that's sending an electric current through the water to what we would call temporarily stun the fish. The fish aren't stunned per se, they're just trapped in the electric field, which allows us to net them, take them out, put them in a bucket. As soon as the electricity's off, they recover immediately, and then once they're in the bucket we can identify them, age them, measure their length, tell us something about the population structure and the community structure of the fish up in this area. This is what I'm most interested in, the brown trout. Very lively.
The fact that I'm not seeing any 0+ fish, the youngest age cohort so far, suggests that the spawning habitat isn't as good as it could be up here, and that's a lot of the work that we're carrying on further upstream, is to improve the spawning habitat and making it better for the egg-laying potential and then the fry potential to boost the production of the trout throughout the whole system.
So I work for the Wild Trout Trust and use the trout as a sentinel species. So we are being funded, part funded for this by the Fishery Improvement Programme from the Environment Agency. That's rod licence money from anglers recirculated back into improving the habitat. So if we get it right for the trout up here, there's more trout production. And as I said, that trout production will drip feed down into the system for the anglers further down and for the benefit of all the ecology up here.
Yeah, so here at Snaizeholme we see the way the water travels off the site is really important. Not only how it gets off and how fast it comes off in terms of natural flowage management, but more importantly the actual water habitats themselves. Even though it seems like quite a wild landscape, there's quite a lot of man-made interventions into this, and it's been influenced by man over decades. So for us to try and start to return natural processes back to some of these watercourses and give it a helping hand is really important to us. And we see this as the work we're doing today and the next couple of weeks is really stage one in that return to sort of rewilding this area. And hopefully in time to come, in the next few years, we'll have a couple more stages of work looking specifically at the water habitat improvement work.